Hey class, so I'm Lucas Springy. Today is November 17th. I'm going to be doing my presentation on pink tax. So what is pink tax? It's not an actual government tax. That's just the name we give to the phenomenon when women's products are priced significantly higher than the men's version. In my research, I also saw it was called period tax or the tampon tax. And that just highlights really the main idea of my presentation today, that certain people are taxed just for their normal bodily functions. So these pictures may be pretty small, but the bottom left one shows two scooters. The red one, presumably for boys, costs $25, and then the exact same one but pink is $50. And then the other ones next to that is it's showing a 39 count box of bladder control pads for women, costs $12, but a 52 count box of the same exact product marketed towards men costs the same price. So men get 13 of those guards for free that the women just don't. So charging different price points for products marketed differently to men and women may make sense for certain products, like for example chapstick and lip gloss. Men don't typically pay as much attention to how their lips look, and we have chapstick to help prevent our skin from cracking. But lip gloss is a totally different product. It has a different function. It's supposed to make the lips look shinier, more aesthetically pleasing. And so it's going to have different ingredients, and it's going to require different methods to be made. So it makes sense for those two things to be priced differently. But many companies claim that pricing differences are due to different production costs of adding colors and new designs for products marketed to a female audience. But the ethical dilemma of a pink tax happens when companies charge more for nearly identical products, and it happens a lot. This impacts every woman who needs the most basic hygiene products. So right here is showing Gillette's two versions of their same razor. The women's one is $5 more expensive. And the calculators here, it's $1 more for the pink one. For whatever reason, I couldn't tell you. So, a 1994 analysis of a proposed and later passed law in California found that women were paying, on average, $1,351 more per year for similar products and services. A nearly identically labeled and manufactured product displayed 150% price increase for women's marketed razor products compared to the men's ones. And these are all just different stats that I found while doing my research. A more recent analysis done by the New York City Department of Consumer Affairs in 2015 found that 43% of the time women's products cost 7% more on average than similar products for men. And the personal care product category represents the most significant difference of 13% more for female marketed products. So this is just showing how we don't have the laws to make sure that the pricing is fair amongst all. Companies are just continuing to use these same excuses over and over, and it's really adding fuel to the problem. However, some of the positives from that are that there is public awareness growing for this pink tax more and more. I didn't hear about it for the first time until a few years ago, and now I've been hearing about it in class a few times, and there's definitely an advocacy for change, but it needs to be happening more for anything to change. So for my ethical analysis, economically, So women, especially those with lower incomes, are disproportionately affected since they have to allocate more of their limited resources to essentials like personal care products, and that makes already existing economic inequalities worse by fueling a cycle where the cost of this inequality becomes more of a burden for people who are already disadvantaged. Sociopolitically, the pink tax reinforces gender inequalities and stereotypes by treating women's needs as non-essential luxuries instead of necessities. And it also excludes women from equal financial opportunities by adding unnecessary costs to their everyday life. And then from a perspective of truth and veracity, most companies are just not transparent about why products for women cost more, and that really leads to a lack of trust between consumers and producers. It erodes the integrity of business in general. So for my recommendations, one way that we could eliminate this additional cost that women face, we could advocate for federal designation on menstrual products to be tax-free. Some states have started regulating gender-based price discrimination by eliminating tax on menstrual products, but those are just the states, and there's no federal standard for labeling these goods as essential. However, some federal level efforts have been made. One is by Representative Jackie Speier here I have a picture of on the right, of our own California. And she actually just retired in 2023. But in 2021, she introduced the Pink Tax Repeal Act to Congress, which would prohibit the pricing of consumer products and services that are substantially similar. So I think that was a really great step in the right direction, but as you can tell from just the existence of my presentation here, it wasn't passed. So on a federal level, this is all seen as well and good, and feminine products are seen as luxuries, which I think we would all agree definitely needs to change. So with that being said, that's my presentation. Here are my sources if you'd like to take a look at where I got a lot of my information. And yeah, I hope it was informative and you learned something here. And thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.